stealing one over on Villa. It was not to be. FAV Gaming ended up taking that one. They are up 1-0 in the series. Kira Esports must now win Chalet and then win Oregon if they are to advance further in the lower bracket.
If the first map's anything to go by, I have no doubt that this one's going to be close once again. Now, unlike Villa, I'm expecting Chalet to probably be a little less structured, and we're probably going to see a bit more action away from site. That's a bit more difficult to read into. FAV consider themselves to maybe not be as structured as many people anticipate, so we'll have to see just how flexible they're willing to play. Kira as well, admitting that tactically they may not be the strongest, but they believe their strong suit, again, is it being able to read their opponents and being adaptable on the fly. So if those kinds of playstyles clash, particularly here on Chalet, no doubt it's going to be a little bit wild. Same bands though, in terms of what we saw over on Villa on map 1, Thatcher Flores off the board. Wamai though, a little bit of a change up here from FAV, wanting to deny some of those projectile denial defenders.
Nothing too really crazy at this point, honestly, in any of these bands. The mirror, last one to be taken off the board. As we head into the second map of this best of 3. Of course, a reminder for those maybe only just tuned in. It was Fnatic who defeated Mercenaries in the other lower bracket round 1 match. They did that 2-0, 7-2, 7-3 on Coastline and Consulate respectively. So they set up Destiny tomorrow against Q Confirm, that is Fnatic. And of course, in terms of this particular game though, guys, awaiting them, Invictus Gaming for either FAV or Kira.
Bar Gaming will be the first site here selected by Kira, and based on their operator selections, this is probably going to play out pretty default. You have the Frost and the, I was going to say Smoke for the shield, but only the Legion now. So actually it may not play out exactly how I anticipated. That said, they still have the Jaeger if they want to fortify that top library position with a shield. And outside of that, the Aruni Gates can aid in, I guess, complementing or, in fact, replacing the need for that Wamai, as those magnets cannot be brought into the server. He was banned out by FAV. So far, setup suggesting an extension above here from Kira. Nothing too wild yet.
Yeah, we're in this sort of, we're in the middle of a series, and yet we're obviously sort of smack bang at the start, right? In the second map, take a bit of a breather off the back of what was a very intense Villa. And we kind of just let things reset naturally in these first couple of rounds. Some of that high stakes pressure is relieved for both teams momentarily. Although you have to wonder, Rhymes with Buck coming in midway through a series off the back of a very close Villa, how they are going to be able to perform. Certainly have got my eyes on them, and hopefully Rhymes with Buck, or just Rhymes maybe, has a really good game. Arthaf though will get us kick-started here on Chalet with the opening pick onto Shin, which was something that happened a lot on Villa. Well, Typon surely should have been able to get that kill, but he allows Slayer to just sort of sneak away. But yeah, Kira, for a lot of the times on Villa, was the team getting those opening picks and being aggressive. And if they can bring that over to Chalet, they will be rewarded.
Typon with the diffuser in hand over towards the double window. Envy under pressure as well, playing inside of box. That balcony position exposes him to the window behind him on the library balcony. Number 2 as well, with a grenade throughout. All of that chaos will give FAV the advantage. Have a lot of time to work with, but Rhymes on the roam. Play to his hard right outside the window, doesn't spot him, but misses the initial flick. Will it prove costly? Not quite. He scathes away as Deathmar pops up and finds another.
Yeah, just evens things up here. 1.5 remaining in the opening round of this second map. Afro just going to reset. Still a lot of time here as well for FAV. Well, easy kill for Rhymes. He's going to play it to his left as well, but he checks over towards Library Stairs. Number 2 will punish him with the kill onto Rhymes, and elsewhere on the map, Death the Bar went down, so now it's only Slayer alive for Kira in a 1 versus 1. as Afro has unfortunately gotten himself stuck inside of a pog map.
1 versus 1. But number 2 wins it out. He has site control. He plays into it perfectly. Hits his shot. What a swing there. And what a start for FAV.
And it's those 50-50 moments, guys. It's those coin flips. That 1v1 where sometimes you see an elbow and you get that kill because of it. Sometimes you hit a good shot through a wall, and in the end, this one goes to FAV. And, you know, you think back to Villa, how many of those sort of situations really ended up being there? Maybe only 1 or 2, ultimately. And it was probably split fairly, which is why we ended up going to all 15 rounds. But that opening round goes the way of FAV, courtesy of that 1v1 going in their favor. And full credit to number 2, who I know you've said a couple of times in this series, guys, there hasn't really been any clear standouts, but I think number 2 is really setting themselves apart.
Yeah, across the board, he definitely has had a decent day. That first matchup, again, in particular against Q Confirmed, despite losing it, he was by far and away the strongest on the team and had a big impact, scoring himself a lot of kills and a lot of entry picks and a lot of late round trades. He was basically doing it all there for FAV in that Villa matchup. A little bit quieter in the first match here, or the first map rather, of this best of 3, but seemingly he has been reignited in the first round here of map 2, a 4K to kick things off, and it was also a 1v1 clutch win. So positive signs for number 2, and it definitely felt like in the first map, if number 2 doesn't quite show up to the same heights, that maybe FAV will struggle a little bit more. So if he does have a huge map here on Chalet, then FAV will be in a great position.
Well, I hate to say it, guys, in this fashion, but FAV's in a good position in this game as well. Fortunately, Slayer having an issue yet and has departed the round early. So he'll take a 5 versus 4 advantage for the remainder of the second round. Not ideal for Kira. Oh, maybe I just thought for a second that Deathamar was going to be able to swing that big window and find a pick. Could have maybe evened things up nice and early, but not to be. Very early E1D as well, deployed by Razor. But this is what Kira Esports need to do on Chalet. Kitchen dining defense, you're obviously going to extend above and then roam out, try and find a few picks.
Taipon working the mezzanine wall, not contested from Fireplace. He was a little bit wary of the flank, but unduly so. Kira, again, with that man disadvantage, looking to play a little bit more conservatively here at the moment. In fact, no one actually really roaming above on that office side of the map. It's only a FAV and I believe Rhymes alongside here, inside of Solarium. As I say that, though, Death actually inside of Snowmobile. Quite risky here. Leaves only 3 at max on site for Kira. Again, 2 of those were roaming, so ultimately, only 1 person actually playing the objective here for Kira. That is Envy on the Frost, trying to deny that entry from Fireplace and from that bar hallway, but maybe if Deathamar can get something going here, he can turn the tide.
Yeah, and this top library stairs position, so vital as well. Late into the round. Oh, to your left, inside of Piano. Number 2.
Bomb located by attackers.
I mean, the fact that they're already in, this is the problem by not having that player staying around that top library stairs position and over towards the mezzanine and this sort of top end of the map. It has allowed FAV to just basically push in and get into these positions early. And now Deathamar's roaming, but he's trying to find the players and he catches number 2 off guard. That's nice, but it's still a 1-man disadvantage for Kira with 30 seconds left in the round. The FAV are the ones who now need to, of course, get this plant down. That's the final EE1D from Razor.
Sharp from Envy, deep. Drops a second alongside Rhymes, who is down now himself. Shin with a sharp shot leaves Death to retake in the 1 versus 2. 10 seconds remaining.
That was a fire shot. Deathamar, though, not going to give up too easily now to 1 versus 1. 5 seconds left. Shin does not have the diffuser, so Death can just hide. And Kira are going to take the second round. A messy round, but it doesn't matter how you win them, guys. It's still a dub on the board.
Great persistence there from Kira. It was a 4v5 very early by no fault of their own, but they did a great job in recovering that round. A really great play from Death Amar to go for something spicy there with all 5 members on the board. Fav not really watching drones had they had any established, and that allowed him to find that pick on towards number 2. Chaos then ensued in towards Trophy, where again Kira did a great job resisting that map control that Fav had gathered pretty easily. And then with so many long angles, so many deep lines of sight in towards that entry, they were able to pick that apart one by one. Just overall a really solid effort from the South Asians.
Yeah, and Fav unable to capitalize there as well in that round. You mentioned it. Had the advantage. Thought Kira actually played that really well. I mean, in fairness, you know, kitchen dining is not the kind of site you can just turtle on. So even though you lose that player early, you still have to basically play that roam game. You still got to extend above. I did feel as if they gave up above too easily to Fav, but even then, they still brought it back pretty easily once they collapsed back on and picked up a few kills. So good signs here for Kira. Of course, it is their map pick here on Chalet. We expect them to be proficient at it. Pretty stock standard bar games. Defense here. Shields, top of library stairs. One over towards the fireplace. Envy, though, aggressive opening start. Goes for a peek, but is unsuccessful.
We saw this aggression from Envy on Villa, where he was constantly looking for spawn picks. Yeah, spawn picks. Spawn peaks. Picks from spawn. Either or. It works out. And that said, some of his attempts did in fact work out. There was one round in particular where he dropped a hard bridge very early in to a stat attack, I believe it was, and it made it basically impossible for Fav to get back into that round. So, actually no, Fav actually won that round, didn't they? So I don't know what I'm talking about at the moment, but my point is, do not expect Envy to back down here from a fight. He loves going for spawn peaks. Will continue to do so, and it's up to Fav to make sure that they are ready. Fav wasn't ready, and K-Razor finds that one.
Next step in the process, though, for Razor is dealing with Rhymes. Clearing out that top library stairs position. He's actually fallen off it pretty early, considering that shield is still deployed and hasn't been taken down yet. Typically, you'll see players give up that top library stairs position with maybe a minute to go, and has done so a good 30-40 seconds earlier than maybe you would expect. Envy, though, continuing to be aggressive and takes out number 2. Makes it a 4 versus 4, minute 10 left.
Slayer inside of bar stock. We know that this position very difficult to flush out, so expect him to stay alive for most of this round and have the ability to watch the vault in, watch the hatch, watch the double window as well. Deathmar elsewhere, though, again off-site, finds a pick there onto Afro. He is just the roaming god at the moment, but here comes the drop.
Trying to blind out Slayer. Now there's the drop, although I think it gets caught immediately. Well shot from Slayer, but he does get traded by Shin. Still, advantage for Kira. They lose Rhymes, though, over towards Library Stairs. That might just open up the door for Fav Gaming to walk straight onto site. Envy's low. He has to be careful, and he goes down immediately. Death Amar now in a 1 versus 1. This is where it's those 50-50 moments. That coin flip. 1v1. 20 seconds left in the round. K-Razor versus Death Amar.
And Death has been playing really well so far, but he has the barbed wire to contest with here. K-Razor.
Oh, he's going to push
to
him.
show initiative. Goes for the swing, but both players miss. Eventually, K-Razor wins it out. Probably shouldn't have, let's be honest. Death Amar was in a great position to capitalize there on the first peak, but doesn't. And Fav take the round.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's expecting him to peak there. I think he's almost anticipating to push in onto site and start planting, and then he'll run up past the barbed wire and swing in and get the kill. I mean, it's not like he's scoped in there looking at the library stairs and expecting that push to happen, right? He's like hipfire mode, and
I think though, look, without being able to recreate it on the spot and replay that round in my head, I do still think that Deathamar gets a slight advantage on initiation because of the way perspective works. He would have seen the leg first, so I think Death has it was, again, very minute advantage, and it is literally a coin flip at the end of the day. But with the position that he was in and the primary he was using, I still probably would have backed him in that position. And look, at the end of the day, it was a little bit messy from both players, and K-Razor maybe with slightly more damage able to get out on top. But yeah, I think as you phrased it, as you sort of positioned it, very, very 50-50 moment that. And look, it's just one of those occasions where FAV end out on top and gain the lead.
Yeah, and that's two 50-50 moments now, really, already. Chalet's kind of like that, I guess, sometimes. Very open sort of map, and you're going to see a lot of trading early on in the rounds, and it can sort of leave teams in that 1v1 sort of scenario quite often. 2-1 start here for FAV. Remembering back to Villa, though, it was Kira who got off to the amazing start. They got the first 2 rounds. They held the lead all the way up until OT. So it was FAV that was constantly on the back foot. And I guess their experience as a top team, you know, playing in APAC North, they've already dealt with adversity elsewhere. They were able to sort of maintain their composure and keep with Kira. Would Kira Esports be able to do the same? If FAV get out to a good lead here, will they be able to get back into this? They may not even want that answer. Just keep it close the whole way through.
An office defense on this occasion from Kira, and FAV are looking to take Library and across. Not too unexpected. This is pretty on meta globally, and it seems to be followed for the most part by APAC. Sure, maybe in the early days there were some attempts to make Solar a bit of a push, but it seems like as of recent, Library now favored by pretty much all teams. Slayer on the roam down below. I think he was potentially blocked out by an air jab, but could still pose a threat over towards the bottom of the Library stairs. Elsewhere, of course, the attack just looking to mount their positions. Afro looking to prevent this jump out from Bathroom. It has been Claymored, but the C4 to follow. Envy, that was very, very ambitious, and he pays the price.
Yeah. I don't mind it, though, from Envy. As you were saying in the round prior, that's what you kind of expect from him, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out every single time. Maybe it does have to cool the Jets a little bit. Oh, that's a perfect nade. Arthav had no idea. And this is so far turning out to be a flawless attacking round from FAV. The way they've played this, they've almost just allowed Kira to play their aggressive style and just really punish them for it.
Death hits the air jab, rhymes over towards Solarium, isolated from the objective,
Wow.
shut down on the rotation, and now Death, once again on the flank, looking for something big. It's going to have to be bigger than big. I don't know how big it's going to have to be, but absolutely nothing he can do. It's flawless for FAV.
That was probably the most flawless round that we've seen this entire best of 3. It was completely one-sided. Obviously, Envy's going to try those cheeky vaults, those cheeky runouts, those spawn peaks, everything. Hasn't quite worked out well here on Chalet, though.
Yeah, it was, to be honest, pretty unnecessary.
Very aggressive.
I feel like he had... So, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle there for that little play, right? He threw out the C4, and I'm assuming that was to try and counter the Claymore. He probably heard it be placed, but then he jumped out before detonating it. So I don't know exactly what happened there. And then he jumped out, and he would have died anyway. Sometimes vaults like that can go your way. They can be a little bit iffy if you're holding the angle. Sometimes you can get shut down pretty easily on a vault, but other times it's really not the case. And obviously there, either way, Envy was dead, whether he found the pick or not. Would have hit that Claymore, but ultimately, again, hindsight 2020, ill-advised. And then from there, I don't know exactly where all the other picks went down, but for whatever reason, Kira really, really struggling in that previous round. Now, it's not alarm bells and warning signs just yet. There are, for sure, occasions where we can see Chalet be incredibly difficult to defend. So maybe this just sets us up for an exciting second half where we can see Kira mount a comeback.
You start to get maybe a little bit worried for Kira Esports. Already down 1-0 in the series. Had they been able to pinch Villa, you could almost excuse them for starting a little slow here on Chalet, but this is their map pick, guys. Defense, offense, I don't think any of that matters. Unfortunately, just the things they're trying to do, not quite working out. FAV have been able to pretty much squash any attempt of aggressiveness from Kira on the defense. But all it takes is a couple of rounds to just bring things back, wrestle back some momentum. But it is FAV Gaming who are, for all intents and purposes, leading the way here on Chalet. Envy at least gets the trade onto Taipon, and Arthav now will establish a lead in the round for Kira, 3 versus 4.
Again, Afro posting himself outside that window. And once again, number 2 down below, cooks a nade, and it is on point once again. Kira, they should have changed their positioning there. They knew last time that was exactly going to be what would happen. And they didn't have anyone down below preventing that nade from being thrown out. So well played there by number 2, and well read by FAV as a whole. It equalizes things in the 3v3, but as we have so often seen, Deathamar still roaming around, still looking to maybe try and make a play. And honestly, depending on where those air jabs have been placed, it could be on the cards once again.
I was listening to that. The eye of the storm after a very aggressive start to this round. Just slows down momentarily, but I think there's going to be a push coming from the top of Library. Never mind. Deathamar falls back. His spidey senses were tingling there for a second. Afro had a good position. Just under a minute remaining. FAV kind of turned their attention back over towards the site. Gas Babe's out from Rhymes. Of course, replaced Blank after the first map, coming back in. Hasn't really been able to get himself going, though. Arthav expecting the repel. With 35 seconds left in the round, that's going to be the final Gas Babe. Afro with a big pick, the swing from Rhymes, unsuccessful. 2 to Afro from that piano position, and number 2 is now on site, sticking this plant down. Deathamar didn't end up really doing anything, just kind of got stuck in no man's land, guys, and comes in late from top of Library, and they know exactly where he is.
So much good control obtained there before the plant from FAV. They were deep inside of Piano. They had a double window cross as well, and without a C4 down below, there was nothing Deathamar could do. He was isolated, he was alone, but now he's going to be feeling even more lonely in the 1 versus 3. He swings, but no one is there. FAV playing so passively. There's nothing they need to do with 15 seconds left. Deathamar sprays, but to no avail. He'll be eventually taken down here, one would imagine, or the time will run out. It will be the first of those options. The triple peak there from FAV to close out the post plant.
Yeah, and the TT in chat, that's tactical timeout called by Kira Esports. They've seen enough. It's time for them to have a chat. They're down 4-1, 1 round to go in the half, and it is paramount that they win it, guys. They need to from the defense here on Chalet. Of course, there's always talk about attacker side of maps, defender side of maps. I think Chalet, statistically, usually plays out that way, that attackers generally can have a pretty good time. Doesn't always mean it will be that way, but generally. So a 4-2 half doesn't put Kira out of this at all, but a 5-1 would be a disaster half. They need to come out of this tactical timeout with a win. And I honestly could have thought maybe they... I'm actually surprised they maybe didn't call it at 3-1. You think back to Villa, that was a map where no team got more than a 2-round advantage. Now we head over to Chalet and FAV's up 3.
Certainly an interesting tactical move here from Kira. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. This is, I mean, it's not necessarily a must-win round, but it's a very, very important round. A 5-1 deficit. That'd be soul-crushing. That'd be very tricky to come back from. Again, considering that the pressure now starting to mount as they are 1 map down in this best of 3. That said, a 4-2. Things start to look pretty bright. And then if this does turn out to be quite an attacker-sided affair, they'll be in this matchup, no doubt. And it'll probably come down to the wire once again, like map number 1 did. That's interesting. A 6 pick from number 2. He's dropping off Sledge on one of the most vertical maps in competitive Siege. Onto the Blackbeard.
Let him know, Guz.
Okay. I mean, do I even need to say how bad Blackbeard is at the moment? I feel like the
I
people
don't know. I
at
saw
home,
Knights play him the other day.
the people at home know that Blackbeard's not that great these days. I don't need to say it, but maybe they have something lined up here where Blackbeard is going to be really important. I'm not too
Do you
sure.
remember the last time you talked down about a Blackbeard pick?
Yes. I
Dino
do.
ended up getting 2 kills with it. Shield was
Yeah.
immense. Yeah.
Yep. Ah, God. If he gets more than 1 kill this round, I'm walking away. I'm done.
I mean, it is number 2, right? If anyone's maybe allowed to have a bit of fun on the Blackbeard, we'll give it to him. I think he can rack up some kills. Well, this is the final round of the opening half here for the second map of this best of 3. If anyone's just tuned in over the last few rounds, welcome. Of course, this is the second map of a best of 3 here in the lower bracket of the APAC playoffs. In fact, the loser of this best of 3 will be out of the playoffs. The winner will move on to take on Invictus Gaming. And of course, the map earlier on Villa, when all 15 rounds was an 8-7 victory to FAV. This game here on Chalet, it's the map pick of Kira, although it doesn't feel like it right now.
Deathlamar on the roam, looking to try and maybe get something up the hatch, but FAV, they jump through the single window and completely bypass that obstacle. So well played by FAV. Now number 2 heading the entry on Blackbeard. Won't really find much though. There is an extension up above here from Kira. Sawyer gates being used to try and deny some of those projectiles. They've also reinforced the wall,
Oh my
but
god.
that's big from Shin. Not only is it the opening pick, but it is that sole roamer taken down, or at least the only roamer on this side of the map.
The Roman with the most kills as well for Kira inside of this opening half. Not the start that Kira needed, and it's been a stark contrast to Villa, where Kira was the aggressors. Kira were getting the opening picks, whether it was defense, whether it was attack, it didn't matter. Here on Chalet, FAV have just been flawless. Kira need a reprieve, and they need it now. Claymore's out because they're expecting Kira to jump out of probably every window. Where's Envy?
Ready and waiting. No, he's playing sight, so he's one of the more sensible defenders at the moment here for Kira. That said, roaming up above definitely isn't too ridiculous, trying to maintain that control. Elsewhere though, mini battle over towards the main wall, connecting fireplace to the B bomb site, that being dining. Opened for free, no wall denial to speak of from Kira. Envy prone in the dining hallway.
Droned
Could
out.
be on for 1, but gets droned out, and now he's in a pinch.
Does have that. Oh, I don't even know if he can get. Slayer goes down immediately. There's the Blackbeard on the board. He needs one more and Guz is out of here. Envy, though, still just stuck on site, expecting to push through. Does get a lot of damage onto Taipon. Doesn't die, though. Shin gets the headshot. Arthar will take out Taipon, and now it's just a trading war. And Rhymes is the last one alive. Rhymes with Buck needs some luck in this moment. He might just get some. Couldn't quite hit the second. What an opening half to this second map. 5-1 in favor of FAV. They're looking quite fabulous.
They haven't looked bulletproof though throughout this series, so there is a very small window of opportunity for Kira to bring this one back. That said, if we're being realistic, if we're being sensible, it's probably fair to say that FAV are in the box seat to take this map and take this series, which I think would be disappointing. I don't think would be truly reflective of just how well Kira have actually played in this series. Again, considering that FAV have so much more experience at a higher level. They play in APAC North. They're an esteemed organization within APAC Rainbow Six Siege for a really long time. Kira, on the other hand, don't have as many opportunities to play at this sort of level. In fact, it's really only the closed qualifiers, and if you make it through that at these mini majors or APAC playoffs, etc. So, on the balance of everything, Kira putting in a really, really good performance. And if they lose this by a significant margin, I don't believe it will be truly reflective of how well they played.
And on top of that as well, this would be arguably disaster for the South Asian region. We think back to stage 1, Kira beat Cyclops, so that was a map win that they got. Mercenaries also took a map off of 7th Heaven. outside of that, the rest was obviously all L's. But in the Stage 2 playoffs that we've had so far, Mercenaries in straight sets didn't win a single map. Kira, of course, could now also follow the same pathway. So it's technically a down, backward step, Gus, from Stage 1. But I don't, and this is where I go back to agree with you, that it doesn't feel like that is deserved. Off the back of that Villa game, Kira deserved at least one map. But sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. You don't always get what you deserve.
Yeah, unfortunately, life isn't always fair, so it could be a tough pill to swallow here for Kira and the rest of South Asia. If both teams get knocked out in the first day, that would be heartbreaking for them. And maybe we'll just extend that timeline a little bit longer until we eventually see a South Asian team at a major, or even bigger than that. The big dance, the Sixth Invitational. Who knows when that may happen? Could be a while down the line, but just like a lot of emerging regions in the past, it often does take time for teams to get up to the pace required. We've seen that from a lot of the teams that are even playing in these playoffs, right? APAC was introduced a little bit later than a lot of the other major regions, but it's a good start for Kira here. A really good start. That's Shin off the board.
It's a long, long way back for Kira. You're in a big hole that they need to dig themselves out of. But they are certainly capable of doing it. They can bring that pressure that they brought on Villa. It only takes a couple rounds to make it a respectable scoreline again. Especially now that they're on the attack here on Chalet. And boy, are they an attacking team when they are on song and they've got a bit of momentum behind them. Like, if they win these 2 rounds in a row, go and say make it 5-3, I would expect an immediate attack timeout from FAV to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. Number 2, though, with a nice headshot kill onto Slayer. Let's see if they can actually finish off this round first, though, because number 2 is having a huge game at the moment here on Chalet. 10-3-1. And after a bit more of an even performance on Villa from FAV, number 2 has just taken it upon himself to really wrap up this series.
Number 2 in Taipun looking to rotate back towards site. Keep in mind that it is an office defense, not down below inside of kitchen. They weren't cut off on that rotation. Envy are playing a little bit of pressure, but will fall back. It's a Solarium take here for Kira, and Rhymes going for the plant.
Rhymes is going to get that plant down successfully. Puts 44 seconds on the clock. 3 versus 3. I think you're well positioned here, although Afro, big kill onto Deathamar.
Oh, where's Envy?
Where's Envy go? Rhymes with Buck. No!
The repel.
Envy on the repel, but is he going to get there too late? He's going so slowly, so patiently, and so quietly. Oh! No way! Number 2! He is number 1 right now! And FAV Gaming go up 6-1!
What a huge play from number 2. Plays it perfectly. He knew that the kit needed to be watched. So instead, he went below and found the pick himself. 6-1 the scoreline. FAV with a 5-round buffer to close out Chalet and win this series.
This has just been a nightmare for Kira Esports. This is what you wake up in a sweat at 3 in the morning. And you think, was that real? Did we just get 7-1'd? It could very well happen here to close out their APAC playoff campaign. FAV Gaming just looking quite deadly at the moment and, well, basically being led by number 2, who has just been a standout performer here on Chalet. Of course, was amazing on Villa as well, and a large reason as to why they were able to win that particular map, guys. But, I mean, the clear standout in this one.
Yeah, number 2's had such an amazing performance here. And this is really the first time in this series we've had one single player just absolutely step up above the rest of the server. So, good performance from him. And, yeah, just continues to mount the disappointment for Kira. And I did think, and I discussed this briefly on Villa, that maybe one team would really drop off in the rest of this series and spend all their tickets on that first matchup and really not be able to play as well for the rest of the series. But then I was like, hang on, both of these teams have a lot of best of 3 best of 3 experience as of recent, and they'll probably be fine. But doesn't really seem to be the case here. Kira have significantly dropped off. FAV and number 2 in particular are just stepping up massively and playing so well. They're not really putting a foot wrong, which they were doing a little bit more on Villa where Kira were capitalizing, but unfortunately they just haven't been given that opportunity to try and find an in. As I say, that Type 1 does give them something, so let's see what they can work of. I mean, overall Type 1 hasn't had a massive map anyway.
Go Slayer. Straight into Solarium. Immediately take out that default, but no one from FAV is going to be contesting him. It's definitely hard to envision Kira getting back into this one. I mean, FAV Gaming... Yeah, I mean, that is perfectly thrown out from Afro. 4 versus 4. It's not just match point, it is lifeline point for Kira. Unfortunately, they're almost out of their lives.
The weight of South Asia on the shoulders of Kira. They are the only team left from that sub-region looking to make a statement and looking to be the representatives for their region for the first time at an international event. But they have such a tall mountain to climb. They need to win 2 more maps, 5 more rounds in a row here on Chalet. It would be an absolute miracle if they pulled it off. They don't find themselves in the worst of positions at the moment, however. It is a 4 versus 4, but so many key positions still to be cleared. And number 2 continues to pop off.
12, 3, and 1. Number 2, who is just running around, causing absolute chaos. Advantage for FAV again with under a minute remaining in the round. Teresa all the way from the bottom of Fireplace stairs. He's going to get 2. No, but hey, makes it really easy for number 2 to finish them off in style. That is the series, and that is the end of the South Asian teams. Both Kira Esports and Mercenaries have now been eliminated from the APAC playoffs.
An expected result there from FAV in the end, but maybe in the not the most expected of manners, some may say. A very close first map, but a demolition effort there on map number 2. The rightful winners in this series, and FAV look to